England's players are to be subjected to a revolutionary 2-year fitness regime. Credit Getty Images. England's players are to be subjected to a revolutionary 2-year fitness regime after Eddie Jones warned his squad is currently not fit enough to win the World Cup in Japan in 2019. Jones insists his forwards, in particular, must be reconditioned to be able to cope with the demands of the modern game. He intends to bring in fitness specialists, including Dave Redden, England's strength and conditioning coach when Sir Clive Woodward's side won the World Cup in 2003, to help draw up the fitness plan in conjunction with the Premiership clubs. Jimmy Radcliffe, the University of Oregon's a highly respected strength and conditioning coach, and former mixed martial arts fighter Dina Massenger, will also be involved. "They're not fit enough to win the World Cup, and we want to win the World Cup," said Jones of his players, who have just returned from a week-long training camp in the Algarve. "You don't have to be fit enough now to win the World Cup, you have to be fit enough to win the World Cup at 1959 on November 2, 2019, the date of the final. We've got some great plans in place to fix that." Eddie Jones has told England's players they must improve their fitness levels. Credit Getty Images. The move comes as Jones prepares to take his forwards to an unprecedented scrummaging and line-out session against Wales at Clifton College, with England prop Harry Williams warning that the confrontation between the two international packs could all kick off and billed as the Battle of Bristol. England's front five forwards also look set to bear the brunt of the heaviest workload of Jones' new intensive fitness campaign as he bids to close what he perceives to be a 20% gap to world champions New Zealand. Jones insists his forwards must be conditioned to be able to cope with the changing demands of the modern game, and has tasked his coaching team to predict the type of game plan that is likely to be the most dominant at the World Cup in Japan to ensure they plan the fitness regime accordingly. England's outside help, who has Eddie Jones recruited in the tight five, are games going towards repeat intensity, repeat accelerations, repeat collisions, and it's about how quickly you get back to your feet and get involved, said Jones. "In a game of rugby you've generally got two players on the ball, and then you've got the off-the-ball people. The forwards have got to have that ability to do at least two efforts at absolute intensity and with execution, and these guys here have then got to be able to execute with skill and with pace, and they only get one chance to do it." Autumn Internationals 2017 fixtures, dates and kick-off times. "Then that ball moves, that ball now goes here, and these guys forwards have got to be able to spread and do the same thing in this area and repeat it, and then these guys backs have got to move over here and be looking for the space." So for the tight five it's about that repeat acceleration, repeat collisions, whereas the outside backs it's more about repeat speed. "We're going to have a presentation about where we see the changes in the game going, and what then are the implications for the players, because they're players that have been in the game for 10 years and they've done the same thing, and they've got to change the way they train now. With 2 years to go until the World Cup, now is the time to change things." The England players received their first taste of the new regime with wrestling sessions overseen by a messenger at Villamura. "We're always looking for advice from outside because there's always smarter people than us, and we're not afraid to get smarter people to come in and tell us we're dumb," Jones added. "We've been to the University of Oregon and Jimmy Radcliffe, one of the most brilliant strength and conditioning coaches. We're getting him to come over for the last week against Samoa to look at what we're doing. George Ford leads a drill in practice." Credit Getty Images. Those players who had been on the British and Irish Lions tour of New Zealand did most of the wrestling as Jones put them on a different short-term conditioning program to take account of the physical demands of the tour. The players, however, still found it a punishing schedule. "We were up at 5:30 a.m. as our first session was at 6 a.m. and then were wrestling by about 6:30 a.m. It's been challenging, but fun," said Courtney Laws, one of the Lions tourists. "Dean has been teaching us some stuff that relates to rugby and it always ends up with wrestling. I don't think anyone is technically that good, but we're all pretty strong. A lot of UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. I think Maro Itoya went well when he did some things, HES the strongest, improbably more technical. And we've been down to the beach to do some lineouts, so it's been good." One of the criticisms of England's conditioning program ahead of the 2015 World Cup that ended in their pool stage exit was that it put too great an emphasis on endurance, which did not pay dividends as the matches did not involve as many multi-phase attacks as expected and were instead decided by attacks based on short, powerful bursts and collisions. "It is difficult," conceded Jones. "The World Cup is the only time you have got the team for 3 months, the only time in rugby you get the team for a period of time. You see sides go to the World Cup, they are either over-prepared or under-prepared. It is getting that balance right. How do you get it right? Speak to as many smart people as you can. Work out a plan. Speak to your players. Get the balance right between physical training, tactical training, social rest. We are up to draft 10 on our World Cup plan now of how we are going to do it. We've had a discussion about the cycle of fastness now and how we project it is going to be. I said, no, it might not be like that because we don't know, so we have to be careful. There is a base level that you need and then you have to be looking individually at how you can improve players, and then the specificity of where the game is comes in the last 3 months.